Cub. You snapped a losing streak you were in, but in all fight week you were pretty relaxed. But can you talk about the feeling, what it's like to get back in the ring column in such a way as well?
Yeah, we as fighters we put so much pressure on ourselves. Any crap people talk is nothing compared to what we do to ourselves, and I don't think fans really understand that. So I was beating myself up. I needed this win. I put a lot of pressure on myself in the last fights, but for some reason this fight I knew it was going to be tough. But I just kind of wiped it away and was like, "Hey man, just do what you do," and I was pretty relaxed this camp.
You hear you don't fight tonight?
Yes, yeah.
Does that was that something that you could have envisioned coming into this? I mean, I feel like in the beginning you maybe thought you would stop him on the feet or something like that,
Yeah.
or he would get you to the ground, or there'd be
Yeah, yeah, it was the more likely
like.
scenario. Yeah, so I didn't expect that we would bang it out for fight of the night. No, I didn't expect that, but I was prepared.
Did his striking and durability surprise you?
His durability, yeah, and his striking. He did a really good job of catching me while I was exiting, because the plan was to, hit him and don't get frozen with your feet. Keep your feet moving. So when I would hit him and try to exit, so he didn't try to clinch me and pull guard, he did a really good job of tagging me on my exits, and he was able to take those easy strikes and accumulate some damage on my face. So I was impressed with that, and I was impressed with his durability. I mean, I hit him with some monster body shots that I put a lot of effort into, which made me tired. But yeah, he took it like a champ, and he's a warrior.
Did you feel underestimated entering this fight because the odds were kind of even? And, you're the veteran, he's still fairly new to the game.
I purposely tried not to look. I didn't want any of that in my mind. I didn't want anybody's outside opinion. I just focused on me being me.
Did you see something in his game ahead of time that made the body shot such a big part of the game plan?
Well, I know that he's a triathlon athlete. I know that he brings endurance, but he's not very explosive. So I knew that my explosiveness was going to be a huge advantage. But in using explosiveness, it can, take your long distance cardio out. So my game plan was, if I'm going to be explosive, I got to wear him down. I got to get him tired, so that way in the third round, if I'm tired and he's still going, I got to make sure that we're on the same level. If not, I'm better. So that was huge. But I was more planning on throwing straight punches to his body to create distance. But he was covering so high. He had a really high defensive guard. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to, load up and throw as hard as possible and see what happens.
Now that the skid is over, can you kind of reflect a little bit on what it's like to go through that, and balancing the knowledge of knowing that you're a great fighter, but having the doubts of not getting the results you want, and maybe fear for your position, and just all those elements that go into dealing with a tough time like that?
It challenges you as a person. It makes you. It's definitely some man stuff. Some grown-up stuff. I bought a really nice house in Orange County. I got 3 kids. This is not the ideal time to go on a skid. I'm trying to set up my future. I'm not going to be doing this forever, so it's definitely not a time for a skid. So it was difficult mentally, but I just kept telling myself, you're better than this. Just, don't beat yourself up.
Did you guys have any words after the fight? Because I know the build-up, it wasn't extremely heated, but there was some tense moments between.
Yeah, we had a brief talk after. I just told him that I respected him. I respect him a lot. I know growing up it probably couldn't have been easy for him. He's got big shoes to fill, and my beef wasn't with him per se. It was with the politics of jiu-jitsu and just how they can decide to out someone. So I'm just not a fan of that kind of bully style. But it wasn't something he ever did personally. So I just wanted him to know that mad respect, and especially going rounds with somebody like that, you go, hey man, keep your head up. I got 30-something fights, and you're gonna come back stronger. He's a warrior.
Were you surprised he didn't try to take you down more? He was kind of welcoming the fight on the feet?
Yeah. I mean, I think I was doing a really good job of not being there, but some of the times in the clinch, I thought he would have jumped guard sooner. but he was willing to kind of bang with me a little bit. So I don't know if he just fell in love with that, but that was what I was trying to get him to do, and I was game.
And last question for me: what advice would you give him? Because as you said, you've been around the block, you know the game very well, and he's very new to this, although he has a
Yeah.
big name.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is he said that maybe I'm not loyal, and in his day, which is old school, is to you stick it out with somebody. But we're in an era of you got to learn what everyone knows. You got to be a student of the game. You got to travel. That's what a real samurai does. So my advice to him is travel. Go be humble. Go out and get as good as possible. Train with everybody. You stick at one gym, you're not going to grow. So I feel like he was wrong in that aspect.
Can you talk about your emotions tonight versus the Duho Choi fight? You talked about that on Wednesday. That was your favorite fight. You're back against the wall. Similar thing tonight on a skid against a rising prospect, and you kind of calm those jets as far as fight training.
I was extremely emotional because I have kids now. I'm somewhat of a role model in my hometown, and I mentor a lot of other fighters, and I talk a big game, and I tell them how to hold themselves and how to not beat yourself up. And so when I say all these things, I really mean it, and I got to live it as well. So for me to be in this position, I can't just curl up and want it to go away. I gotta be a man and face it. So for me to be able to show all my training partners, show my kids, show my family that I can pull out of this was huge.
So you were the only guy to fight in Amalie Arena the last 2 times, man. What's in the water in Tampa Bay that makes you so successful?
Yeah, I had a win here last time that got me out of a losing streak, and then I did it again. So, I've worked with a sports psychologist before, and we talked about not having win streaks and losing streaks. It's one fight at a time, but it's very hard for it not to be there in your mind. So I was trying to, when it did pop in my mind, I was just trying to take it as a quick positive and move on.
So, Tom, I don't know if you know, you moved into second place with Max Holloway, 16 wins in the featherweight division. Can you talk about that accomplishment? You just made that statement.
It's cool. I mean, I'm sure I landed a lot of strikes as well, and I know I have. If they count my WC fights and with the UFC, if not, I know I'm up there with strikes landed. I got some. I'm in the record book, so that's why I was so happy about the Duho Choi fight winning, fight of the year, because I've been around. I've been in so many good fights. I've had 14 bonuses, I think. There's a couple that they forget to count, going way back, but I've never won anything in my lower. Before I got in the UFC, I've never fought for a title. I've never got to fight for anything like that. So winning fight of the year was something that I could hold on to and put up a little trophy, show my kids. So being in the record books is also something that says, hey, I'm not just a fighter that goes in there scraps every time. Like I've put up big numbers. I've dedicated my life to this.
Any name on your mind for you next?
No name. The UFC calls me. They say, hey, you want to fight this guy? And I say, yeah. That's kind of how it's always been. People always tell me, hey, maybe you should take an easy fight. But they told me a long time ago, hey, you're the kind of guy that if we want to pump up a fight card, we try to match you up against somebody crazy, and that's how they do it. So that's my role, and I'll continue to do that.
There are rumors that Choi is returning on the Korea card in December. Would you be interested in a rematch with him down the road?
I definitely. I feel like me and him owe the fans that, to do it again. I would like to see him get a win. He hasn't been really active, but for us to do it again, I think people would love that, and so I'm down.
What can you say about Khan's jiu-jitsu tonight in the UFC page? You shared the page for 15 minutes with him. He had maybe a moment of hopefulness with grappling, but nothing serious. Do you think he's going to have trouble applying his jiu-jitsu at the high level here in the UFC?
100%. We were talking about it earlier this morning when I went to go do my shakeout. Like I was like, I think Ryan Hall is a little bit more dangerous just because he's been able to come up with a striking style that complements his jiu-jitsu, and I think it's pretty brilliant the way he does it. I think Kron has all the tools. I think he's got the heart of a warrior. He's bred to fight, but I definitely think that he's got some work to do. But I definitely think he could be at the top. Just gotta mix it up and have a little bit more complete game.
What could you say he was missing tonight?
I'd say, offensive wrestling. I think that, pulling guard, it still felt dangerous. We trained hard for it, but I didn't feel threatened, at all. I got pretty good jiu-jitsu too. People don't really give me credit for it, but I got pretty good jiu-jitsu.
Not taking anything away from your amazing corner, they did a great job tonight. But Hickson, Gracie, and Kron's corner tonight kind of added a little bit to the fight and the entire aura of the fight.
Yeah.
Is that kind of cool?
Yeah, one of my biggest things that made me happy is way back in the day, I got to meet Helio Gracie and I took a picture with him. Maybe a year or two before he passed at a Grappler's Quest, and I was super proud of that picture. I'm a big fan of the Gracies. Jiu-jitsu helped save my life, and our little beef was about something that happened a long time ago, and I definitely have respect for the Gracies and what they've done for the sport.
And just finally for me, we talked about it a couple days ago. You said that you don't mind being that gatekeeper and being that guy. How good did it feel to show that the young guys aren't you can still be that guy that you're not going to get past?
Well, it just proves to myself that, all the time I spend in the gym, I've been a straight professional for 15 years, going on 16 years, since I was 20 years old. Never missed weight, never failed a drug test. Anything they ask of me, you ask all the staff. I show up on time to everything. I'm not a prima donna. I'm not making any waves, like doing dumb shit. Sorry. I've always acted like a professional and tried to help this sport grow since day one, and I take pride in that.